Okay, take a deep breath in. Breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation, and as you exhale, just allow tension to leave your body. That's it, breathing in, and relax those eyelids. With your eyes closed, notice that you can give more of your attention to the sound of my voice. As you breathe in and breathe out, just get a sense that you're breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, the feelings of tension, stress, worries are leaving your body in your outward breath. That's it. I want you to recall something that you do every now and then that's completely relaxing for you. Maybe a warm bath, maybe meditation or a yoga session. I want you to recall a time where you felt so relaxed and imagine you're back in your body back then doing that thing. Continue to breathe in and breathe out. Only this time use the power of your imagination to imagine that you're breathing in a vibrant, bright color that represents this resourceful relaxation. Imagine it going in through your nose, going into your lungs, allowing your heart, just as it does with oxygen, to distribute that resourceful feeling of relaxation to every cell in your body. And in the same way that your outward breath exhales that carbon dioxide, I want you to imagine that any tension, stress or worries are leaving your body in your outward breath, and perhaps you can imagine that vibrant bright color as something darker as you imagine that tension is leaving your body just as you breathe out. I want you to notice that as you breathe in and you breathe out, eyelids are getting heavier. Any tension in your jaw, you can just release that on your outward breath. Focus your attention on the muscles in your forehead. Those muscles responsible for expressions like surprise or concern. Become aware of the muscles. Breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just get a sense that you're letting go of that tension, allowing it to leave your body now. Allowing that relaxation to go now into your neck and your shoulders. I want you to perceive that any tension in your neck and shoulders is almost like crystals of ice frozen into muscle tissue. As you breathe in, get a sense of the warmth of that resourceful feeling of relaxation, imagining it melting away the tension in your neck and your shoulders. As you exhale, just feel that tension leave your body as the relaxation spreads all the way down your arms, all the way to the tips of your fingers, giving you a sense of feeling deeper and deeper relaxed. Even imagine your internal organs are relaxing. As you breathe in, just imagine your lungs relaxing, your stomach relaxes, your heart, your diaphragm. Feel that relaxation going all the way into your gut. That's it. And for many people, if the neck and the shoulders is the bank account of tension, the gut can be the bank account of anxiety. I want you to get a sense that that anxiety, if you can feel any in your gut, just allow it to melt away. They call the gut the second brain. But you want this brain, this intuition at your best, and just set the intention of letting go of those things that you're not in control of. And as you do that, notice that echo of anxiety just starts to leave your body, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed as that relaxation now goes into your legs, all the way down to your toes, enabling you to go deeper and deeper, relaxed. I want you to get a sense that you're still in that place of relaxation, but imagine that you're able to go and access a memory from that location. I want you to remember a time, a positive time, where you set the intention to do something that resisted the pressure of other people. When you can recall a time like that, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to remember that you set the intention that it was going to be a positive experience. You decided in advance that your resources would exceed the demands of what was going to happen, even though you didn't fully know what was going to happen. Your belief system is that things are going to be okay. And they were. And that's not a surprise. Because as we set these intentions, our thoughts are built on the foundation of these beliefs. And when we believe that there's something wrong, the brain starts looking for what's wrong and tries to fix it, even if nothing's wrong at all. But when we believe that things are going to be okay, your brain starts searching for evidence as to how many areas of your life things are okay, even when you're not fully in control of all the variables. And I want you to congratulate yourself on just how many things you're able to do that other people would seem as daunting or pressured. I want you to get a sense that your brain is hardwired to handle pressure, not by overthinking, but by enabling you to be the most resourceful version of you. In fact, there's so much evidence in your life that you at your best isn't analytical and overthinking, but you at your best is trusting the incredible power of everything you've learned up to this point. Trusting that your brain will find the right information at the right time, to connect unrelated things together, to identify new patterns, new connections. I want you to get a sense that you have a powerful mind, and sometimes powerful minds can be scuppered when we try and think too hard. I want you to have a sense that you already know how to handle pressure. I want you to get a sense that the way in which you handle pressure is by reminding yourself that you can handle pressure. And in doing so, I want you to remember a time perhaps when you were on live TV. I want you to observe yourself almost like you were behind a camera, a member of production, seeing yourself and seeing how relaxed you look, even though you didn't know what questions were going to be asked. I want you to mimic the way that you see yourself breathing then, in that moment. Mimic your facial expressions, mimic your posture. That's it. And then I want you to imagine climbing into that version of you. A version of you that feels resourceful, feels that your resources exceed the demands, even though you don't know what those demands are yet. Your breathing, your posture, your facial expressions basically is saying, I can do this. I'm going to go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens. Whether it's a good interview or a bad interview, everything is going to be fine. And if you get a sense that those things feel like they're true in that moment, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. In which case, this is a thinking strategy that perhaps is useful in a different context. I want you to think of a different time, perhaps when you're speaking to a large audience. Again, observe yourself like you're someone else. For many people, they would overthink performing to a large audience, asking themselves non-stop what-if questions, that things that they can't preempt, things they're not in control of, but not you. Notice that you observe yourself looking relaxed, with a deep sense that you have the knowledge, the experience, the skills to handle this particular challenge. It comes down to trusting yourself. Again, mimic your breathing, facial expressions, your posture. Imagine climbing into that version of you where perhaps you're on a stage, you can see the audience, or at least a silhouette of them when you've got that perhaps lights shining on you. Maybe there's a freestanding microphone, or maybe it's a lapel microphone. I want you to get a sense that your resources exceed the demands around you. That actually, the fact that there is an audience here means you're going to perform better than if it was an empty room. Somehow the challenge brings out the best in you. At some level, you believe that you have competence here, that you can do this. That even though you're not in control of the audience, you're not in control of the lighting, the sound, whether the battery works in your presentation clicker, and yet you're happy to go with the flow. Deep down, you believe that whatever happens, happens. And no matter what happens, everything is going to be fine. Notice how you naturally take the pressure off yourself, and when you do that, you're able to even enjoy something that other people would find daunting. I want you to get a sense that you have the ability to be highly resourceful. And I want you to think of a time where you were perhaps having a driving lesson. A driving lesson where you felt that everything just flowed. Feel that you're in the car seat, hands on the steering wheel. I want you to get a sense that you feel like you can handle this. That driving is within your comfort zone, that your competency exceeds the demands that driving offers. As you're driving around that car, driving around the roads and noticing the traffic, I want you to get a sense that I can do this. That even though you're not in control of whether or not the car in front brakes or not, you're not in control of the traffic lights, the flow of traffic, the weather, you're happy to just go with the flow. That when it comes to driving, whatever happens, happens. And in fact, whatever happens, everything is going to be fine. I want you to get a sense that the way you're breathing, the way you're thinking, this overall assumption that you can handle this is still with you as you imagine it's perhaps half an hour before a driving test. I want you to pose the question. Pose the question perhaps that, shouldn't I be more nervous than what I'm actually feeling? And you're pleasantly surprised that somehow it feels different now. The way you're breathing is more like how you would breathe before being interviewed on live TV or doing a keynote talk. The posture, perhaps while you're having a cup of coffee or just waiting in a waiting room, seems relaxed. Your posture is communicating to you and to anyone around you, I've got this, I can do this. Your facial expression is projecting the idea that you're just going to go with the flow. That your intelligence is not linked to whether or not you pass or fail a test. Your value as a human is not in any way connected to what one examiner says on one day. In fact, you're going to set the intention to enjoy this test. You're going to set the intention to turn off the inner dialogue and to just go with the flow. That whatever happens, happens. And deep down you know 100% that everything is going to be fine, and sooner or later I will pass this test. And know 100% that that is true. I want you to get a sense that perhaps someone comes out in a high visibility jacket with a clipboard and calls your name. And your inner dialogue immediately is, I can do this. With a tonality letting you know that you can indeed do this. Perhaps whether you can hear it or not, as you're walking towards the car, you have a sense that you're just going to go with the flow. No pressure. You're going to treat this like a driving lesson. Your facial expression communicates to the instructor, to the examiner, that I can handle this. No big deal. Maybe they ask you to read a registration. And notice that the tone of voice that you read that out seems very relaxed. They ask you to get into the car while they do some checks. I want you to notice that as your hand touches the handle to open the car door, you're reconnecting with you at your most resourceful. As you sit down in the car seat and adjust the position, I want you to notice how relaxed your breathing is. As you hear the click of the seatbelt going into the device to connect the seatbelt, the moment you hear that click, you're unlocking you at your most resourceful. As the ignition turns on, I want you to imagine it's not just the car engine that is being turned on. It is the power of your subconscious mind to be resourceful in the most relaxed and enjoyable way that is also switched on in that moment. You notice that you're breathing from your diaphragm. You notice that you're smiling, but not in a nervous way, just in a relaxed way. You adjust the mirrors. You're friendly with the examiner, communicating to them and yourself that you feel relaxed. But you're also being very attentive to what the examiner is asking you to do. In so many areas of your life, you get the balance just right of allowing resources to meet demands, to get that ability to feel like you're in flow. You're not so relaxed that you don't care, but you're not so vigilant that you're anxious. You're in that perfect balance. And if your mind feels that as you're driving around those streets that are familiar to you in this area where this test takes place, if you feel that your mind is happy to access that balance, just let me know by nodding your head. I want you to consciously detach yourself from the need to pass the test. Your intention is not to pass the test. The intention is to feel resourceful while you're doing the test. And I want you to imagine that each part of that test, whether it's the changing lanes, braking, maneuvering, I want you to get in a sense that you feel like you're doing it well, that you feel comfortable while you're doing it. And I want you to set the intention that although you're not attached to passing the test, I want you to imagine that at the end, as you pull back in to the car park outside the building, that you hear good news. I want you to get a sense that whether or not this good news happens on any one day doesn't matter. I want you to have a deep conviction that sooner or later you will pass this test. The only question is, will it happen sooner or will it happen later? But your unconscious mind will accept the suggestion that the more resourceful you feel, the more likely you are to pass the test sooner rather than later. And if you accept that suggestion to be true, let me know by nodding your head. Imagine leaving the car park and imagine that you're going forward 10 years in the future. And imagine that you've been driving for 10 years. I want you to imagine that because you accept that your future is you driving, that backs up your belief that sooner or later you will pass the test. And when you pass that test, you'll realize that all of that overthinking that you did up to that point didn't help you to pass the test. What helps you to pass the test is detaching yourself from the need to pass the test and trusting that you have the resources to meet this demand, that you can do this, that you're happy to go with the flow, that whatever happens, happens, that everything is going to be fine, and that you did pass that test. Imagine you're back in that relaxing place with a sense of quiet confidence, optimism, not about the result, but that you have the knowledge, the experience, the competency to do well. You'll sleep well. You'll wake up optimistic. And you already know how to access the thinking, the breathing, the posture and the physiology of you at your most resourceful. And whenever there's any signs of any anxiety or nerves, you'll just decide to make subtle changes to become more of the version of you that is you at your most resourceful. And in doing so, you're able to not control the outcome, but control which version of you takes that test. And in doing so, helps take you towards the certainty that sooner or later you will pass that test. It's now time to return to the present. finding yourself back in your body in this moment, listening to my voice. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Get a sense that you're in your own physical body right now, but connect with that feeling of resourcefulness. Set the intention of doing a test at your best, of enjoying the process rather than being attached to the outcome, and allowing you to enjoy doing something that perhaps in the past was quite stressful. In a few moments' time, I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, optimistic, with clear intentions as to what you will do going forward, knowing you have the resources to handle not just this test, but any test in life. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.